Hey guys, so in this video I wanted to talk to you about this assignment that I have to do for my culture and health class. And so I brought my book so that I could tell you guys a little bit more about like the specifics of the assignment. And first of all, before I even get into the book, I wanted to tell you guys the basis or the basics about this assignment. So this is module 7 of, or not module 7, module 5. Module 7 is the last module of the class. And I guess I'm getting a little excited for the end. But yeah. So anyway, in this module, it's chapter 7. That's why I said module 7, in case you're curious. But in this module, we are talking about like heritage consistency and things like that. And so basically heritage consistency, to give you guys like an overview of what it is like a person's cultural heritage, how consistent their life is with the traditions of their culture. And so basically we were given this assignment to do a familial assessment. And basically what we have to do is, in the book, there is a list of questions and we are supposed to be interviewing someone. They recommend it to be a relative, but if you don't have relatives, because obviously some people may not have relatives that are accessible to them, or they may just not, have contact with their actual biological relatives. They said that you can also choose someone who has been an influential figure in your life. So if it's not like a biological relative, then you could ask like a family friend or somebody who has cared for you. Like if you're a foster child or someone who was adopted, so you may not know like your biological parents or something like that. Or if your biological parents are dead, then somebody who was close to you for a majority of your life. So I actually chose to interview my mother. I haven't actually interviewed her yet because we haven't like figured out a time. It's not due until next Friday. Today is Saturday. So I do have a little bit of time to write this paper and interview her and all of that, because it is a paper that we have to write about like their questions and how consistent they are, like as far as heritage consistency goes. It's kind of like more in depth than what I really want to go on this video as far as like the entire assignment, but I wanted to talk to you guys about like the things that I have to ask her. And why I chose to go with my mom is because like a lot of these questions are based on like a maternal figure in your life. And so I could have interviewed my godmother because she has literally been in my life my entire life, but I chose to go with my mother because, like I said, it is from a maternal perspective. So the first one that we have to do is a heritage assessment, and that is like all of this. I will just kind of briefly tell you what it's about. So this set of questions is used to determine a person's or your own, which or your own does not apply for this assignment, ethnic, cultural, and religious background. The heritage assessment is helpful to determine how deeply a person identifies with his or her traditional heritage. This assessment is very useful in setting the stage for understanding a person's traditional health and illness beliefs and practices, and in helping determine the family and community resources that will be appropriate for support when necessary. The greater the number of positive responses, the greater the degree to which the person may identify with his or her traditional heritage. The one exception to positive answers is the question about whether a person's name was changed. The respondent is credited 1 point for answering no. The background rationale for the development of this tool is found in chapter 2. So it asks like where your parents was born or were born, where your grandparents were born, how many brothers and sisters do you have, what kind of setting did you grow up in as far as like urban, suburban, and rural, what country did your parents grow up in, how old were you when you came to the United States, how old were your parents when they came to the United States, when you were growing up, who lived with you, how often did you visit family members who lived outside of your home, was your original family name changed, what is your religious preference, It talks about like the spouse and partner, what kind of school did you go to, and the options they give are public, private, and parochial. As an adult, do you live in a neighborhood where the neighbors are the same religion and ethnic background as you? Do you belong to a religious institution? It asks about like practicing religion in your home. Do you prepare foods that are special to your ethnic or religious background? Do you participate in ethnic activities? So ethnic activities could be anything from singing, holiday celebrations, dancing, festivals, costumes, things like that. And then it asks like about your native language. Do you speak the language? Do you read your native language? And then that's the end of like that assessment, and it goes into an ethno health family interview, and that talks about like what you do to maintain health, and if she can remember what did her mother do, what does she do to protect health, what home remedies does she use, how do her religious or spiritual beliefs define birth, define illness, define healing, define death. And then they also talk about like doing an urban hike, which is taking skills, knowledge, and curiosity applied to the great outdoors and applying it to peopled areas, as far as like seeing the infrastructure of a new or familiar place, hearing, listening to voices, traffic, and music, tasting new foods by eating in neighborhood restaurants, smelling food as it is prepared on the streets, and feeling the textures of different fabrics and objects. And that is not like part of our assignment, but it is something that you can do optionally if you choose to. This is more like learning about the community that you, your colleague, or your patient comes from, and like getting a better feel for why they may feel a certain way or why they may do certain things. So that's kind of it for that. Like I said, I don't really know how my mother is going to react to certain things, because, you know, I don't know that she really understands all of these questions that I'm going to be asking her. I did tell her that it was about like her heritage and, you know, things like that, but it does go pretty in depth, and I know that she has a hard time talking about my grandmother, because if you don't know, my grandmother died in 2016 as I was becoming a CNA. So my mother was there with her basically the entire time. She slept on the floor in my grandmother's room at the assisted living facility, and yeah, she slept there. She, you know, before she got really sick, my mom would come in and have lunch with her every day, go have breakfast with her every day, and have dinner with her every day, because my mom didn't want her to feel alone. So yeah, it was really hard on my mom, and I know that asking her questions about like her mother may be a little bit difficult, but you know, it is something that I have to do for this assignment, so I'm hoping she'll be okay with it. We still have to figure out a time so that I can ask her all these questions, but I'm hoping that it's an interesting and enlightening experience and not something that's going to be negative. But anyways, if you had to do this as an assignment, who would you choose if you feel like sharing? And yeah, I just wanted to share that with you guys. I am going to go finish writing chemistry notes because I'm still writing chemistry notes. And I do have homework for chemistry to do that I really should get done today. But yeah. Anyways, that's it for today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed. If there's any other topics you'd like me to talk about in a future video, please let me know and I'd be glad to get something filmed for you. And if you have any comments, suggestions, questions, let me know that as well. And I will talk to you guys next time.